We often think of soil as just, well, dirt. But what if I told you it's actually a living, breathing ecosystem, an entire world that powers pretty much everything on our planet? Come on, let's dig in and find out what's really going on right under our feet.
Seriously, beneath the ground we walk on, there's this universe of activity. It's the truth foundation of all life on land. And today, we're going to uncover its single most vital ingredient.
So, what is it? What's the secret ingredient that transforms plain old minerals into this vibrant, life-giving force? Well, the answer is a total game changer, especially for anyone who grows anything.
That secret ingredient, it's something called soil organic matter, or SOM for short. And trust me, this stuff is the absolute lifeblood of the soil.
Okay, so what exactly is SOM? Put simply, it's all the living and once living stuff in the soil. We're talking about a rich mix of decaying plants, animal bits, and a massive community of microscopic organisms. You could honestly call it the soul of the mitti, the Urdu word for soil. Now, let's break that down a bit. A tiny slice of it, about 5%, is the actual living organisms. Another 10% is fresh stuff that just got added. But the real workhorses, they're the decomposing matter that's actively releasing nutrients and this stable stuff called humus, which gives soil that rich, dark color and amazing structure.
And here's what's so powerful about organic matter. Unlike the sand, silt, and clay in your soil, which is pretty much fixed, this is something farmers and gardeners can actually build and manage. It's our handle, our one big lever for improving soil health.
So how does SOM actually feed plants? Let's take a look at the process that turns it into plant food. Think of it as a powerful engine, the mineralization engine. Now, this engine is run by a completely invisible workforce. And I'm not kidding. In a single teaspoon of healthy soil, there can be anywhere from 100 million to a billion bacteria. These guys are constantly working, breaking down organic matter and releasing nutrients for plants.
So here's how it works step by step. First, these microbes chow down on the organic matter. As they do, they convert the nitrogen locked inside into something called ammonium. Then, in a really quick second step, a different set of microbes turns that ammonium into nitrate, and that is the form of nitrogen that plants can easily slurp up as giza, or food.
This diagram right here shows the whole flow perfectly. See, you add organic stuff like manure, sometimes called gobar, or old crop stalks. That's like stocking the soil's pantry. Then, through mineralization, those microbes unlock the pantry, turning the nitrogen into food that plants can use to grow strong. But how fast does this whole mineralization engine run? Well, it turns out there are two main dials we can look at that control its speed: temperature and moisture.
First up, temperature. Just like us, microbes are way more active when they're warm. This graph shows it plain as day. The rate of mineralization just skyrockets as the soil warms up. A jump from 40 to 80 degrees Fahrenheit can crank up the rate by almost 5 times. That's huge.
The second dial is moisture. See, microbes need water to live, but they also need to breathe. So there's a sweet spot. This chart shows the rate peaking when the soil is moist, but it drops off if it gets too dry, or if it gets totally waterlogged. You want to think of it like a perfectly damp sponge, not a dusty desert or a muddy swamp.
Okay, so we've seen how SOM feeds plants by unlocking all those nutrients. But you know what? The benefits do not stop there. Let's look at how it builds a truly healthy soil from the ground up, in 3 really key ways.
Physically, organic matter is like a master architect. It acts like a glue, binding tiny soil particles together into these stable clumps called aggregates. This creates little channels for air and water to move through, which cuts down on erosion and makes even heavy clay soils feel lighter and easier to work with.
And speaking of water, this is amazing. Organic matter acts like a natural sponge. It can absorb and hold up to 90% of its own weight in water. It basically creates a reservoir that it slowly releases to plants right when they need it most. Then you've got the chemical benefits. SOM is the soil's pantry. It's a long-term storehouse for essentials like nitrogen, phosphorus, and sulfur. It also boosts the soil's ability to hold on to other key nutrients, and it even helps protect the soil from wild swings in pH.
And finally, the biological benefits. SOM is the fuel for the entire soil food web. It's the food that supports this incredible community of organisms, from bacteria and fungi all the way up to earthworms. And having all that biodiversity creates a more resilient ecosystem that can actually help suppress plant diseases and pests all on its own.
So, what does all of this actually mean for farmers and gardeners on the ground? What's the real-world payoff for building this kind of healthy living soil? Well, it really all comes down to two things: productivity and sustainability.
Take a look at this chart. On average, a typical farm soil can naturally supply about half of a crop's nitrogen needs just through mineralization. But check this out. Soils that are really high in organic matter can supply nearly all of it. That is nature's fertilizer, doing the heavy lifting and cutting down the need for chemical inputs.
In this chart here, this illustrates the bottom line just beautifully. That blue line, that's a soil with high natural mineralization. See how it hits maximum yield with way less added fertilizer compared to a typical soil, which is the green line? For a farmer, that translates directly to lower costs and a much smaller environmental footprint.
So yeah, investing in your soil organic matter isn't just some feel-good environmental goal, it's a direct investment in a more productive, more resilient, and ultimately a more profitable farming system for the long haul.
So, when you think about it, our soil is this incredible living pantry, totally capable of feeding our crops and sustaining all of us. By understanding and nurturing soil organic matter, we can keep that pantry stocked for generations. The real question left for us is, are we willing to make that investment?